Ready? Good evening. Can you tell me your first and last name, please?
My name is Manuel Puya.
So, Manuel, how do you feel about what's going on today in your community? Because you have all these cops over here, you have all these news trucks that are parked on every single corner,
Right.
and it seems like this is just like a scene that's been here since this morning. How does that impact the community? What are you feeling today?
Being a native from the community itself, and never witnessing something as traumatic as this, I think it weighs heavy on everybody here, and it hits close to home. You know what I mean? So, I also witnessed when it was happening as it was developing.
Wow.
And it was I don't know. Yeah. So seeing people from the community itself go through that shock and that fear, and I have my dad and my siblings still living in the area. So I speak to them, and I reached out to them when it was happening, out of fear. You know what I mean? And I hate that it's happening here, and yeah, it's still a bit of a shock to the community itself.
So this morning you said, were you in the subway, or you saw people coming out of the subway panicked?
Where I was on the D train going towards the city right
You
after.
were on the train. Okay. Wow.
After the way it happened, after the R train was a D.
Right.
And that's when we came into the whole scene as it was happening, and it was traumatic as well, and very in shock for the passengers. It was.
So you saw the smoke, you saw the scenes of people on the platform,
Yeah.
people doing triage, assisting to people.
Yes.
So in that moment, what was your initial Did you help them? What were you doing?
It was very surreal and a lot to take in. So it took me a second to know.
You were in shock.
Exactly. I was in shock. But also there was a lot of noise regarding a bomb at the time, that it gave me fear of maybe it's not smart for me to get out the train and be stuck in the platform. So that as the train was leaving, I got back on. But there was a lot of people also helping the casualties as such.
Right. So just come a little closer. So the chairman, the police commissioner, this afternoon, the police commissioner said, and you can see there's an FBI agent right behind you. The police commissioner said earlier that, and I think it was the MT chairman who actually commended the train crew for letting the train leave. But what they didn't realize was the shooter was on that train who had set off the smoke bombs. This was on the N train on the Nancy. You said you were on the D train.
Yep.
So you weren't on that train. You were on the other train on the express track.
Yes.
And that N train was on the local track.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. And with the smoke, were you, how bad was it? How thick was the smoke?
It was at the time of when my train arrived. I didn't see much smoke. It was just a lot of the smell of gunpowder.
Gunpowder.
Gunpowder and chemicals like that. So I don't want to say exactly that.
Right.
But it was very overwhelming when you stood on the platform.
And did you see any police on the platform at that
No.
time?
No, when I didn't see any. But again, this was, I think, as soon as it was happening, and I'm I guess right before they arrived.
Because there's one complaint that we have at Passengers United was 36th Street, as you know, is a major hub. There should have been a police officer either on the platform or on the lower level, or even upstairs, but there was no cops at the time. But the police did respond fast. So how do you feel about the police response? Do you feel it was adequate, or could have been better, or?
I think there's definitely room for a lot of things that could have gone or could have been done correctly. One thing I will say is that from the time where the train was evacuating after the incident, up until my train arrived, that was ample amount of time for somebody to be there, and it wasn't. So I think that it's yeah. So there's a lot of room for improvement there.
And the surveillance cameras at the 25th Street station where the suspect boarded the train, the cameras were not working. That's what the NYPD said.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Does that scare you, or?
It's unfortunate. I don't have any thoughts on that.
Yeah.
That's again another thing. Just one other thing.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Have a good night. Be safe. And do you have any suggestions for any people traveling on the subway now after this incident? What would you recommend?
Oh, just be safe and vigilant. That's it. Be safe. Be smart. Yeah, but look out for one another.
There you go. That's
Yeah.
New York Strong.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Okay.